Hello. Before I get rolling, I want to say what a privilege it is to be here with so many fans and so many great songwriters and to be part of this evening. So I'm going to tell a few stories about Neil Young that probably nobody's ever heard before. Being in Winnipeg in the 60s was absolutely amazing. Winnipeg was the dead center of Manitoba. Manitoba was the dead center of Canada. Canada was like, it was the middle of North America and also was the middle of nowhere. So being in Winnipeg, you stayed indoors a lot in the winter and you rock and rolled. And the rock and roll bands were Neil Young and the Squires. I was in a band called Chad Allen and the Reflections, who became the Guess Who. Burton Cummings had the Devrons, Neil Young and the Squires, Fred Turner and the Rockin' Devils. And we're still going today, the four of us from Winnipeg, and pretty much led by the master there, by Neil Young. And we had, Winnipeg was great. The drinking age was 21. So when you played a high school or community center dance, everybody under 21 came. So you had like 600, 700, 800 kids at a dance. Even the nightclubs downtown, they didn't serve liquor. Everybody went to those. And I remember seeing Neil at the Hungry Eye and the Twilight Zone and places like that. We had 3 great radio stations, CKY, CKRC, and CJOB. And every morning at 7:45 on CJOB, they had a program called Beefs and Bouquets. And people would phone in. So if you had a beef about something, you called in and complained that the guy didn't shovel the snow, you know, the snow blower cut off your driveway. Or if the Blue Bombers won a game, you gave a bouquet. So I'm listening to this at 7:45 every morning with my mother, and then when that was done, we'd switch to the rock stations. So we're listening to Beefs and Bouquets, and this voice comes on and says, I just want to give a bouquet to Neil Young and the Squires, who played last night at Community Center. And they're just a great band, and he's going somewhere, he's going to be a star. And I say to my mother, wow, that's amazing. This guy's this good that someone's phoning the radio station. He must have a fan club president. She said, that's Rassie, his mother. After that next weekend, the next Monday, the phone rings again. I mean, she phones in again. Neil was just great last week. And so I got my mother to start phoning in the same my band was great. Then Rhoda Cummings started phoning in for Burton Cummings. And we all had our mothers phoning the radio station. So I'm here alone, so you can sing along with me, right? When I hit the part, you remember? Old man lying by the side of the road with the lorries rolling by. Blue moon sinking from the weight of the load while the buildings scrape the sky. Cold wind ripping down the alley at dawn and the morning paper flies. Dead man lying by the side of the road with the daylight in his eyes. Don't let it bring you down. It's only castles burning. Find someone who's turning and you will come around. One more. Don't let it bring you down. It's only castles burning. Find someone who's turning and you will come around. So there was a time in my life when I really was brought down. I had left the Guess Who in the summer of 1970. I went back to Winnipeg, and Neil was back there visiting his mother. And I said, what am I going to do? It's the end of the Guess Who, and I don't know what to do. And he said, well, I'm ended with the Buffalo Springfield. But when one door opens, when one door closes, another door opens. The distance between those doors is up to you. The hallway can be a long one, or you can just run to the next door and open it and jump into the room and see what happens. And he got me a deal. I started a new band. He got me a deal with Warner Brothers. I went to LA, talked to Mo Austin and Don Schmitzerly. I had a band called Bray Belt. We did a couple of albums there. While I was in their office, they said, you want to come and see Neil tonight? He's at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. And I said, sure, great. Now, I had seen Neil at like the Hungry Eye, the Twilight Zone, playing to 40 or 50 kids. when I got to Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, it was like sold out. There was like 10,000, 11,000 people. Neil came out on the stage alone with the guitar, and I was kind of stunned by this whole thing. And he said, I've just written another 12 or 15 verses to this song, and I'm going to sing them tonight and sing along with me. And I like this song so much, I'm going to put it on the B-side of every single I ever released from this point on. And he proceeded to do this song, and you're going to know a little bit. It's so noisy at the fair, but all your friends are there. And the candy floss you had, and your mother and your dad. Oh, to live on Sugar Mountain with the barkers and the colored balloons. You can't be 20 on Sugar Mountain, though you think that you're leaving there too soon. You're leaving there too soon. Southern man, better keep your head. Don't forget what your good book says. Southern change gonna come at last. Now your crosses are burning fast. Southern man, Southern man. Come a little bit closer, hear what I have to say. Just like children sleeping, we could dream this night away. Sing it with me. 'Cause I'm still in love with you. I want to see you dance again. 'Cause I'm still in love with you on this harvest moon. One more time. 'Cause I'm still in love with you. I want to see you dance again. I'm still in love with you on this harvest moon. So here's a time I thought I was going to save Neil Young's life. I'm walking in downtown Vancouver, outside the Orpheum, and a big bus pulls up with glass on top like a Skyliner, and the Buffalo Springfield on the back in wood, a big carving of the Buffalo Springfield, again, album cover, and it's Neil's bus. And everybody's pointing, looking at the bus, so I go knock on the door of the bus at a red light, and I get invited in, and Neil's there, and Ben's there, and his whole crew is there, and we say hi to each other, and I'm going to his show that night. And he says, you want to come on stage for the encore? Go get a guitar. So I call home and have a guitar sent out in a cab. And as I'm about to go and get my guitar, because taxi's coming, I hear one of Neil's guys say to him, let's go get stretched. And this was the time Steve Martin had out the movie The Jerk, and he had the thing that, let's get small, like take a drug and get small. Get small. And Grace Slick had one pill makes you small and one pill makes you large. So I figured, Neil's going to be doing some heavy drugs with this guy. I've got to go and save his life. I've got to go and stop him. If it ruins our friendship, I don't care. I'm just going to bust in. So downstairs in the Orpheum, there's all these dressing rooms, and I hear the two of them talking, and they're going, oh, man, isn't that great? How does that feel, man? Oh, it's just great. And I look around the corner, and guess what they were doing? Stretching. They had their feet against each other and holding each other's hand, and this was his trainer, and they were stretching his back. That's how I saved Neil from this terrible drug called getting stretched. Be on my side, I'll be on your side. There is no reason for you to hide. It's so hard for me staying here all alone, when you should be taking me for a ride. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. She drag me over the rainbow and send me away. Down by the river, I shot my baby. Down by the river, dead. So one day I heard Neil was playing near Seattle, and I went to see this show called Greendale, and it was amazing. He was on stage playing with the horse. He had guys acting on stage, and then there was a screen behind projecting the whole thing, and I just sat there stunned. This was one of the greatest spectacles I'd ever seen. And after the show, I told Neil I had a similar problem where I lived on Salt Spring Island with the pulp mill there in Crofton, BC, polluting the air and the land and the water, and all the cows were dying, and the kids couldn't breathe on the playgrounds. So he said, let's do a benefit. So I want to thank him for his generosity, and he keeps this kind of a secret, but you know, every September he does Farm Aid, and him and his crew go out and they do this incredible giving back to the world, who's basically given to him, and teaches everybody a lesson. What you give, you'll get back tenfold. So I want to thank him for that. The concert that we did, they tried to shut us down. The people that donated the piano to the center took back the piano. They wouldn't allow us to rent the room like this. We had to rent the hockey rink and pretend we were going to be playing hockey. But Neil came with an acoustic. They wouldn't let us use electric because of sound problems. So we did an acoustic show with Bare Naked Ladies, Neil and myself, and raised a couple of $90,000 to help fight the pulp and paper mill. Thank you. Have you ever seen the bumper sticker, "What would Jesus do?" Well, once I'm driving in LA and I see a bumper sticker that says, "What would Neil do?" So I took that a little bit further. When my manager gets a phone call for me and says, "We're offering Randy this much money for this kind of gig," I always say to Joe, "What would Elliot do?" So I want to thank this team of Neil Young and Elliot Roberts. Is amazing. I think they've been together since Woodstock. They've gone around the world together and totally rocked the world. I want to compliment Neil. It's a songwriting night on the incredible songs he's written, from the 3-chord wonder marvel that Katie Lang just sang of Helpless to like the 18 chords, Flying on the Ground is Wrong. He just writes every kind of song in every genre. Every record is different than the last. It's kind of like the Beatles or Elvis, keeps changing albums and singles, and it's just quite an amazing guy. So he's been a very good friend of mine, and all I can say to him and his family and all his loved ones is, long may you run, long may you run, although these changes have come. With your heart of gold shining in the sun, long may you run, long may you run.